A lunar colony's solution to heat management and power generation. The design of a lunar colony has many constraints and considerations to be aware of, but the two main problems are heat management and power generation. Heat management is critical because the harsh environment of the lunar surface will destroy all devices and kill every astronaut unless they are properly heated and cooled. This is mainly caused by the moon's lack of atmosphere. Without an atmosphere, there is no insulation, so the surface temperature at night is negative 200 degrees, while it is positive 200 degrees during the day. Most external devices need to be heated during the night to prevent them from freezing. Power generation is obviously important since everything requires power, but it also requires complete reliability since if power cannot be supplied, then all systems turn off. This is bad considering that they are needed to keep the astronauts alive. This is why solar panels and RTGs are the power sources of choice in space, but both have complications. I asked Alan Strader what he would choose.
I think solar power, but it's got to be coupled with massive batteries. You've got to find a way to store it because every spot on the lunar surface gets roughly 50% of its time in darkness. And the problem isn't like here on Earth where it's only a maximum of 14 hours of darkness. It's 14 days of darkness. It's 14 days of light and 14 days of darkness.
If needing batteries for 14 days of the night does not seem appealing, then the other option I mentioned, RTGs, also have complications. RTG stands for radioisotope thermoelectric generator and uses a radioactive substance to generate heat that is then converted into electricity through thermopiles. RTGs are used when solar power is either weak or unreliable and are safe despite using radiation. Unfortunately, RTGs produce too little power to meet the demands of a lunar colony. Returning to the topic of heat management, there are two methods that can be used to solve the problem. The first method is active cooling by using a coolant loop connected to a radiator outside. This will prevent the overheating of any device or astronaut. I got the second method from a NASA report by Anthony J. Caloza, and in it, a multi-layer insulation of polished nickel was used. Because the lunar surface is a vacuum, the primary method of heat transference is radiation. Polished nickel has a very low emissivity, and by having many layers of it, very little heat can escape the habitat. The NASA report made calculations about a lunar colony and found that the heat loss during the night was so little that the residual heat generated by the devices inside the habitat can maintain temperature. With heat management solved, power generation is the last major problem left. Solar power's main issue is the battery requirement during the night. While RTGs cannot supply enough energy, Colosa's NASA report was about a comparison between solar and nuclear power systems, and so has a solution for each method. For solar power, there is a more efficient method of storing energy called a rechargeable fuel cell. Combined with offloading nighttime power loads into the day, and solar power becomes the best option for missions that can operate on low power during the night. For nuclear power, while an RTG may not produce enough energy, NASA's kilopower reactor does. Instead of utilizing the natural decay from radioisotopes to generate heat, the kilopower reactor is a fission reactor and it uses two nukes worth of weapon grade uranium as fuel. The heat from the reactor is converted into power using advanced Stirling engines that are more efficient than thermopiles. The problem is that astronauts need to stay at least 2.28 kilometers away to prevent harmful radiation doses. This is because 6 kilopower reactors are needed to supply enough power for a lunar colony. In conclusion, I think that solar power is the best solution for the power generation problem that lunar colonies face. The amount of unshielded nuclear material makes me worried, despite the safety measures that it will surely have. If you want to help support lunar colonies, then follow NASA's Artemis program, spread awareness of them, or use the information you just learned as cool facts to bring up with your friends. That NASA report I used as a source is 98 pages long, so it'll impress them.
Interesting concepts, Douglas. Well, excellent. Thank you for thinking of me and offering to interview. Let me be a part of this. This was fun for me.